Do excuse me. I know I'm a little late to this story, but I wanted to just get some more information on it and kind of dig just a little bit on it. Now, this company in limited run games, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I've ever really consumed anything that they have that they've done, or I was a customer at all like that with some of the games that they published. But there is a lesson to be learned here just overall. I'm not saying that there may be watchers. There may be people that have watched this that have got games from this company, but this is something that is certainly standard and really all of entertainment. And for people that, let's say, aren't trying to get in the actual creative side of the entertainment, they may not know how this is. So Niche Gamer put this together, and I will run through it briefly. Game distributor Limited Run Games has fired their community manager, seeming over public outcry of who they follow on Twitter. And I'll get to the actual post that they posted after they fired the employee, but let's move on. One of the users of the ex-employee, Carl Lin, followed. This was Ian Myers Chong, claims that it was due to them following the notable account of Libs of TikTok. Now, apparently this person followed other people as well that, let's say, aren't necessarily leftist. And there was a snitch campaign that was done by, not just the colleagues, but just other people that are external that maybe are followers of, maybe not even that. Who knows if they're like legitimately fans. But it was a snitch campaign that was being ran because of who they followed. And it looks like they were pulling the whole transphobia card, all those cards, because of Libs of TikTok. We know who they highlight and the goofy things that have come from TikTok, coming from these leftists. Now, the fact that this happened, I think, is a lesson to you all. Okay. Now, this is the post right here. I'm going to give you my thoughts here in a bit. LRG, this is coming from Limited Run Games, respects all personal opinions. That is a lie. However, we remain committed to supporting an inclusive culture. Upon investigating a situation, an employee was terminated. Our goal as a company is to continue to foster a positive, safe environment for everybody. This person was fired not because of anything they did to anything that I see, but it was because they followed people that I guess the other side would deem as controversial. And we know how they feel about Libs of TikTok and others, but mainly Libs of TikTok seems to be the focal point of the kind of snitch campaign that was ran. Now, as I continue to talk about this, I'm going to see if I can find some of the other like witch hunters, I guess is what you would call them. I know Melody Max showcased some of them. So yeah, you have this person right here said, I signed a contract with Limited Run Games, and I'm shocked and disappointed and insulted to see this come from their community manager. And I just emailed the team I've been talking to stating I won't be able to move forward with our business until this is addressed and Lynn is removed. So this person just flat out admitted what it was. What is this person? I don't know. Oh, trans. There we go. Am I able to see any of this? I can't see that original post. It was a snitch campaign. That's what happened at the end of the day. My argument is this. It's very simple. It's not complicated at all. There needs to be more Rippaverses, but not just Rippaverses in comics. There needs to be more Rippaverses in virtually every single aspect of entertainment. Okay? What you have right now, and I need people to understand how bad it actually is. What you have right now is there's a bunch of people that work for various companies that have to hide who it is that they are. There's only one acceptable political message that you can have publicly, loudly, and proudly, and it's political leftism, social, more on that scale as well. Social political leftism is what you can openly support and be without having any conflict with, let's say, your employer. We saw this with, and I know the article mentioned this, Hogwarts Legacy, because they had one of the lead game designers was following people like Ben Shapiro. That got them ousted as well. It's not about that. Now, of course, they will always presented as a way, well, you're the enemy or these people are the enemy and they're so toxic and they're so violent, even though they're not. What it boils down to is that you can be an open leftist, support open leftists that have definitely in the summer of love in 2020 that have actually advocated violence, promoted it, at minimum justified it. You can do that. There's not going to be any problems. But if you do it, if you're in support of people that are on the opposite side of them, let's say on what they deem on the political spectrum, you're in trouble. Okay, that's just what it is. So I know this in comics. I say this from experience. There are people that have reached out to me who have been part of have done work with Marvel and have said some of the prints that you used to see on my walls were actually prints that I was getting directly from the original artist. And they would say that they're fans of me, but they, of course, can't make that public because they don't want to jeopardize their jobs. I think that's a crappy way to live. But the reality is this doesn't end until these guys are competed with. And then you have a let's say, business plan, and you just don't do what the other guys are doing, right? It's not about hiring people that are all on your, just agree with you top to bottom on situations. We don't have that. Not everybody, obviously, if any, at Rippaverse are, let's say, anarcho-capitalists, okay, like myself. But if these people follow somebody, I'm not going to, let's say, fire them just because they follow some people. That's just silly. That's goofy. I'm not going to, like a tweet from somebody. I'm not doing that. That is so dumb. Like, there comes a point in time where you might do something with your job in itself that, let's say, is in conflict with where it is that we're going, and you're jeopardizing a business because of a mistake that you made. That's one thing. But because you like someone or follow someone that is on a different side of the political spectrum, that's we're not doing that. But there needs to be alternatives that are competitive, more importantly. It's not just, hey, guy in his basement starting a business. That's not what it is. It needs to be like what we did with the Rippaverse, where we put the industry on notice. We need those equivalents. They can be established brands. They can be non-established brands to come through and actually be a threat to the, schemes and scams of the legacy entertainers, because that's where they're at. They've made it abundantly clear. I've been trying for years to get people that are not leftists to really understand this. It is like pulling teeth sometimes. You support them as it happens with their media. You support them, they don't support you. That's how it works. Okay? So unfortunately, and it really is because they control so much that people are familiar with. Right? So though they have made it clear that they don't like you, people will go in and support them. Though those leftists, for example, ain't coming to support the Rippaverse. It's not happening. Okay? Not happening. You need to be able to gauge the market to understand the landscape and act accordingly. But definitely on the creative side, we need alternatives to just come through, be actually competitive, present, let's say in the gaming space, something that looks competitive, that has somewhere near the scale of, at least a AA, and get it done, and be proud about who it is that they are, and even make a statement. Look, when I make a statement, I'm not saying literally type up a statement. I'm saying be an example. Be an example of where people can, and I have obviously former DC artists, former Marvel artists that have worked for the Rippaverse, and I'm like, look, man, you don't have to deal with this bullcrap anymore, right? To where you can't even do your best work because you're suppressed. You're walking on eggshells, and that's not a way that I want people to have to live. And if we're going to fix this issue that plagues this industry, plagues many entertainment industries, is going to take action. It's not something we're just going to stumble across the solution. And I think people have this whole begging, which unfortunately people do a lot, in begging them to accept us, is not a solution. I think really there's one solution, but the solution can be, can look different ways. But ultimately it's going to come down to people that have some sort of competitive nature entering into their entertainment industry and being and leading by example. That's our way out of this, because you're going to get more of this. And this, of course, she's not the only one that's there. There's a whole large pool of people that are working for major publishers, developers, and are having to suppress their thoughts of where they're at because they understand that any event that information got out, there will be a campaign ran against them and they will be ousted. That is a crappy way to live. But it's not going to get fixed by simply highlighting when they do it, because they do it and don't care. Yeah, this person, the limited runs, locked up their account. But if people don't just say, you know, we're done with this company, the folks that do support it, it's not going to change. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change until there's a folks that come through and actually compete with them and provide an alternative. That's it. Until then, though, we're going to deal with much of the same thing. I promise you guys, it's like that basically in every single entertainment industry. It's like that. People are in a position where they can't be themselves because they are going to risk their job. So they figure it ain't worth it. And those that do, even if you aren't like tweeting all the time, but you just can like somebody's post and they're ready to dog you. And that's why they hate the Rippaverse so much. Not to make it necessarily about myself, but you have to understand what this is about. They don't. It's not just simply that, you know, hey, I'm a guy that's not a leftist, and they just hate me before that. That's part of it. But what really irritates them is that they can't do anything to stop it. You know why? Because we're our own distributor and we're our own publisher. So they can't go to, like, there's nobody that they can go to like over here and say, well, let me speak to the manager, essentially. He's hiring that problematic person. Or this person that likes these folks they can't do that. I'm the owner, fool. Top to bottom. There's nothing you can do. And we need more of that. And it's not just in comics, it's in games. It's basically in every entertainment industry.